I think in life, as well as basketball, simplicity often prevails. There is a time and place for complexity, but mastering the simple plays and understanding all the reads is what's actually going to give your defenders nightmares. Compared to running overly complex sets all the time, which do work, but often lead to more confusion within the offense than the defense. The wide pin is a simple play, sometimes referred to as a Korver screen, as it originates from Mike Budenholzer and the Atlanta Hawks, who utilized it to get Kyle Korver open threes early on in the offense. Most NBA teams now run some form of the wide pin, but we are going to specifically break down how the Warriors, as well as the Kings, use the wide pin within their offense. You're also going to learn how to counter the 4 main defensive coverages to ensure you can find easy open looks every single time. You will also learn some key wrinkles that the Warriors use to get their players open, so I hope you're excited for that later on in the video. Wide pins require our last tip to be run effectively, and without using our last tip, your wide pins are likely going to get blown up by the defense. After a successful defensive possession, it's vital that you set your spacing through faults. Keegan gets behind the last defender, meaning he cuts to the basket for the outlet. Then he finds Davion, who has bolted to the corner. Hey, fucking stuff. Who then makes the extra into another extra for the wide open 3. Notice how the Kings always bolt into 5-out spacing. Both corners and wings are filled. Usually they have the big Sabonis trailing to the split line. The trailing player, who doesn't always have to be a big, then decides if they want to set an early drag screen on the ball, something that I will break down in another video at another time, or set the wide pin for the shooter on the wing. The wide pin is what we call a trigger, which aims to create an advantage. After the wide pin is set, the players involved must apply coverage solutions based on how the defense guards them. If you and I were playing paper, scissors, rock, and I threw rock, how would you win? Of course, by throwing paper. But then if I threw scissors, I would win. Coverage solutions work the same way. Each style of defense aims to take away something, but will have weaknesses or solutions that you can apply to beat them. Just like the Death Star. Against shooters, the defense will aim to chase them over the screen, preventing them from shooting and forcing them to drive into the big, therefore creating a drop coverage. Steph uses our secret tip to create an advantage. He is now waiting for Looney to roll and get his head behind Len's head, which creates a 2-on-1. Now Steph has to make a simple decision. What do you think that decision is? I'll give you 5 seconds. Steph has to read if Len stays with him or goes back to Looney. Here he stays with him, so he finds Looney on the roll, but if he had stayed with Looney, Steph would have continued the drive, likely into a floater. The Kings play much better defense in this clip. Keegan successfully taking Wiggins hostage. I explain what taking hostages is on defense in this video, running him off the line and making the pass difficult. Now, what do you think should happen? Should Pool A look to play ISO, B hit Looney, C do a dribble handoff with Clay, or D jack it from 35 feet? I'll give you 5 seconds. The correct solution is B. If the curl is not open against the over, you should pass to the screener and play the get action, which is a fancy name for a stationary handoff. Poole then finds the ISO step back versus the mismatch as the Kings opt to switch the get action. Going under aims to prevent drives, and if done correctly, should prevent catch and shoot threes. Watch what DiVincenzo does here to punish Davion for going under. This is what we call downhilling the under. When a defender goes under a screen, they are trying to beat you to the other side of the screen. Therefore, if you are quick enough and can get to the spot before they can, you can get them on your hip, creating an advantage into a downhill drive. DiVincenzo doesn't stampede the catch like Murray did. Instead, he uses deception out of one of the Warriors' wrinkles to get downhill, but more on these later on. The other simple solution against unders is shown in this clip. Notice what Sabonis does after the wide pin. Sabonis performs a twist, which is a solution versus the under. Looney does the same thing. The wide pin sets the screen towards the middle of the floor. Davion goes underneath, so Looney flips the angle, sending the screen in the other direction, freeing Steph for the 3. This works as going under 2 screens in a row is quite difficult, which usually forces them to go over on the second one. Here the Kings are expecting the twist. They purposely go under the first screen to force the twist before using a flat show against Steph to try and force the ball out of his hands. Steph is able to find a gap through, but he isn't able to find a finish, so he kicks to the wing. The Warriors are experts at keeping the flow on offense, flowing from one trigger to the next until they find a great shot. Therefore, Steph, after the kick out, sprints to the corner, and Peyton sets an exit screen for Steph to find the open three. Speaking of keeping the flow, it's vital when you run actions such as the wide pin that the ball handler is always looking for our next concept. If you're a fan of the channel, you will already know what this concept is, but take a look at this clip and see if you can figure it out. If you aren't able to keep the defense honest when you run off-ball screen actions through sneak drives, it's very easy for them to pressure you, which will likely slow the action down and throw off the pass timing. Notice how Klay's body language is towards the white pin, making the defense assume that all he's going to do is pass to Steph or Looney. He then quickly changes pace and gets downhill. Barnes overhelps as he's guarding Draymond, a low 30% three-point shooter, so Klay sprays it out to him for the wide open three. Commonly, teams are going to deny Klay and Steph on these wide pin actions. The Lakers did this really well in their last series, which led them to a 4-2 series win. Real quick, I want you to recall what you were taught to do when you were denied. I'll give you 5 seconds to recall that. Shit out here. The simplest strategy versus any denial defense is to look for a backdoor. Just make sure you throw accurate, catchable passes. The Warriors used the Lakers denial against them. Reeves denies Klay, therefore Klay performs a back cut. Draymond then opens up to receive the pass from Steph. Steph looks to come off the get, which engages AD, the weak side defender, in case Steph turns the corner into a drive. Klay continues his cut, which then becomes a Looney exit screen. This is a great example of Steve Kerr's set play design, knowing the scout that the Lakers are going to deny the wide pin, placing Looney in the weak side corner to then set an exit screen for Klay. Both AD and Reeves go with Klay to prevent the open three, so Looney expertly slips out of the screen for an easy basket. Such beautiful play design, a great example of our paper, scissors, rock concept. Each coverage has specific goals, but they have weaknesses, which the Warriors expertly exploit for easy buckets. The Warriors would also place a guard as the screener, rather than have the guard handle the ball. Here, Poole is screening and Looney is handling. Klay is denied, therefore he backdoors. Poole then changes pace suddenly, opening up for the get action and running through the handoff for the open three. Steph is the screener this time. Both Davion and Trey Lyles are afraid to leave Steph or switch out, which leaves Poole wide open for the drive into a foul. If you are enjoying this content, you should definitely join my email list. The link is in the description as well as the pinned comment. Before we discuss the final coverage, let's dive into one of the Warriors' wrinkles. Here we see a guard, DiVincenzo, set the wide pin for a big Draymond. Poole gives the ball to Draymond only to immediately get it back. We call this touch action in New Zealand, but I know it's often referred to as Poole on the chase action in the NBA. The idea behind this is the guard is screening the only player who could help, which leaves Poole wide open for the three. Wide touch is an example of a wrinkle, a play that is almost the same as the base play with slight changes to get a slightly different outcome. We see Draymond keep the ball this time, faking the touch handoff action before attacking the basket for the and one. A great example of individual deception out of a set play. The Warriors would also use a step-up ball screen out of the touch. Here, Green sets the wide pin for DiVincenzo, who then touches it back to Steph into the Green twist and step-up screen. Steph expertly rejects the screen as Fox overplays before making the expert kick out to for the wide open three. Same wrinkle again, wide touch into a step up. This time Sabonis is flat showing, preventing Curry from turning the corner or shooting a three. This brings two players to the ball, so the solution is for Draymond to slip and then catch the ball in the short roll. He then applies the concept of pass to where the help comes from. Here the help comes from the wing, so Draymond passes to the wing. Against any coverage that brings two players to the level of the ball, such as this clip where the Kings show or switch, I don't really know what they're doing, to be honest. So Draymond slips the screen. Quick pause. We've been talking a lot of terminology. Let's break them down really quickly. Setting the screen is done when you want to remove a defender, such as in this clip. Grease is in a drop coverage, so to create an advantage, the screener sets the screen hard, holding Luka's defender until Luka is free, then the screener rolls to create a 2-on-1. Slipping the screen is done against aggressive coverages, which if you want to learn more about, you should watch this video, as there are two players at the level of the ball, making it difficult for the handler to turn the corner downhill. However, it creates a 4-on-3 advantage on the weak side, so it makes sense for Draymond to quickly get out of his wide pin here to catch the ball in the short roll. Again, let's break down the idea of short rolls versus long rolls. I do think the name says it all. The short roll is caught in the mid-range area, compared to a long roll, which is caught all the way at the rim, straight into a finish. Now that you understand understand the terminology, let's get back to our clip. The Kings do whatever defenses are supposed to be. Draymond slips out and catches the ball in the short roll. Now all he has to do is to apply the concept of pass to where the help came from. Kuminga's man helped, and Kuminga's not really a great shooter, so he performs a kill cut, cutting from the wing for an easy finish. This is my favorite wrinkle. Standard wide pin, but the guard sprints into a ball screen, which should be set near the slot area, and the big who initially screens the guard then twists and sets a second screen, usually near the split line. The first screener always pops, and the second one rolls. This is known as wide double drag, and it's such an effective wrinkle, I even use it with my own youth teams. Remember that secret tip we spoke about earlier? Pay attention to this clip and see if you can figure it out. The best players always build a solid foundation with our final concept. They aren't looking to build towers without first building a great foundation. Watch how DiVincenzo fakes using the screen, which puts Monk in a poor position. If Monk stays where he is, DiVincenzo will be wide open as he comes off the wide pin. But Monk tries to jump to prevent this, which then gives up the back cut. The best players in the world always ensure the defense is wrong. They set their man up before using any action and always keep the defense honest through things like sneak drives, rejects, and backdoors. Now that you know all about using off-ball screens on offense, it's time to learn how to guard them better by watching this video on ball screen and off-ball screen defense next.